Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast. Today, we are back with one of our past clients, Renee, to talk all about the rebrand experience. So, before we jump into everything, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, what you do, all of that great stuff?
Hey Jesse, yeah. So I am a elopement and micro wedding photographer based out of New England, and I photograph couples in Acadia National Park in Stowe, Vermont, and then also in Iceland. So kind of a little all over the place, but I love it. So
No, it's so much fun and like working on your site and like seeing all the photos. It's got that bit of like we were in New England, so it's that like I've been there or it's so cool and it feels like places that are sort of like home, and then it's you're just
yeah.
hit with Iceland and your like beautiful landscapes and incredible photos. So it was so much
Oh,
fun going through all of them.
oh, thank you. I'm super lucky to have the job that I have. So
Absolutely. I mean, what else? What could be better than doing that and traveling around and seeing all
oh
these
yeah,
beautiful landscapes and hanging out with really cool people? Like what more could you
yeah,
ask for?
for sure, for sure. So.
So we worked on your rebrand towards like the end of last year. Before you actually decided to, do it, you were like, all right, it's time. What was kind of going through your head? What prompted I think it's time to start this and actually do this rebrand?
Totally. I've been in business since 2022, and I've actually worked with a previous web designer and rebranded a couple times. And I think that the biggest push was those rebrands did not feel like the North Star that you guys really helped me dial in and perfect. What really was pushing me towards like taking the next steps. One, I had really niched down and wanted to focus on elopements,
Hmm.
and it's really a really specific like focus, but also it's a specific kind of clientele that feels like that's the direction they want to take their nuptials. And so there are some really outstanding counterparts in this area, especially for the locations that I photograph in. There's a lot of competition, and we're all good friends. But just looking at like who else is out there in the industry and like what their brands look like, I really wanted to set myself apart. You see a lot of more like neutral greens, khakis, and like national park emblems, so, like logo stuff, and I really felt like I love that. I love that campy vibe, the outdoor vibe. But when it comes down to like my couples, like they're adventure-ish. Like some of
Hmm.
them want a little bit more slower pace vibes. They want nostalgia and it to be fun. And I feel like that was the direction that we took, especially with like, I gotta point out my chickens. Just like the logos that you guys came up with were just really incredible and on point and like really represented who I was. So, or who I am. So,
I think that's the chickens are like one of my favorite part of the entire brand, and I think it's one of the things where sometimes we're thinking about our brand and like little
yeah.
elements and icons and stuff like that we can do, and we're like,
Yeah.
well, what can I put in there that relates to my business? And everyone's like, oh, you got to do like a camera or something about
Totally.
photography or all of that stuff, but you can really like the world is your oyster when it comes to that stuff, and it's things that still represent you as a person and that's who they're going to be working with, but it's also those little fun elements that make you stand out and like catch people's attention because they don't expect to land on a photographer's website and see a chicken. And like you were
Totally.
saying, where there's so many people in the area
Yeah.
who do relatively similar things to you and they might work with similar couples to you. So those little things that really make you stand out, having a slightly different color palette, having those, fun visual elements, having, a website that is maybe more interactive or,
Yeah.
whatever it might be, that can make a big difference in helping to set you apart from all of those other photographers and all of those other people that they're probably realistically looking at as they're trying to find who they want to work with.
Totally. I think the brand like it absolutely represents like what I love, and like not only not only like the aesthetic of, my everyday day. We have a lot of chickens. We have, kind of like we have like a little homestead, but also just I love that kind of there's a Scandinavian aspect to it. There's a little bit of like folky, like just
Hmm.
it's cool. And I feel like it does stand out versus like, other brands out there where it can kind of blend and I think most couples are looking at between like 5 to 10 websites before they're really committing. And
Yeah.
this like the bold colors and the funky like fun logos, it really stood out. So
No, I 100% agree. And I think kind of like you were saying with, having done brands and websites in the past and kind of working
yeah,
through stuff, really taking the time to look at your business and niche down and be like, who do I actually want to work with? And
totally.
getting super specific about that can help so much because then you're able to cater everything like your brand design, your website design, your copy, your messaging, all of that specifically to those people that you want to work with. And I know we get a lot of questions with people going back and forth and they're like, should I niche? Should I be super specific? Like, am I going to
Yeah.
be excluding people? But, personally, what we found, even with niching in our own business, is we speak to photographers, and that's what all of our content is on and all of our website.
Yeah.
Like, it's super specific on that. But that doesn't mean we don't get people who aren't photographers reaching out. Like, just because you're speaking to one specific set of people, it does mean no one else is ever going to reach out to you if they're like, I love this and I think you're the perfect fit. Like, I still want to, talk through this. So I think
Yeah.
it works in both ways. You're not necessarily never going to get anyone that doesn't fit that exact mold, but you're going to get more people who are that right fit, right off the bat because you're really speaking to them and connecting with them, from the first time they interact with you.
And Jesse, like I am totally cool deterring people from clicking on my website, and I feel like I'm totally cool with it. I don't want to work with people who don't align, and I feel like having a really strong brand, not only it has like, sustainability with like people going to your website, staying on it, scrolling through. Like I have seen just with like Google Analytics, like recognizing the how people are staying longer on my websites because not
Hmm.
only is the brand drawing them in, but it's also like it's keeping them there to read the copy, to look at the photos, to like go through the blogs. And that's really incredible. It's something that I wasn't experiencing previously. And and then it also like deters people if it's not totally aligned. And like I'm so thankful because it's not a generic website, and like it can absolutely put people off that are not totally the right fit. So, yeah.
And at the end of the day, that just saves you time because you're not putting
Oh
effort
yeah,
into, having those calls and doing all of this work and then being like, that really didn't feel like a fit. And they're feeling the same
totally.
thing. And, it's
Yep.
your time, it's their time. Planning a
Yep.
wedding isn't a small thing. So, like, the
Right.
more you can kind of help people self filter and decide
Yeah.
if they're the right fit before they even reach out, the better it is for everyone involved.
It's given more confidence and the qualifying leads, but also like I know this might not, it's not like taboo, but it's something that I think a lot of people wouldn't feel confident in doing. But I like on my inquiry page, like the contact page, I immediately put like book a call with me and I give them my schedule because honestly, I know if you're inquiring with me and you're setting up a time like that, my website did a lot of the back end work that, I it wasn't doing before. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's the more we can kind of get all of those questions answered, all of that baseline
totally.
stuff.
Yeah.
Once you're getting on the call, it's not going over all that basic stuff. It's like, okay, like what are you planning on doing? Let's talk about how we can make this, come to life and all the cool things we can do and that baseline connection and building that comfort and confidence, right off the bat.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
So now that you've had the site up a little bit, besides
Yeah.
noticing people maybe staying on the pages longer and actually going through them, is there anything else that you've noticed when it comes to your brand and website and how you're using it, how people are interacting with it, kind of how it's been working for you?
Yeah, totally. Okay. So, a little backstory. I've used Showit for over I want to say I'm like at year 3 with Showit. I had done a bunch of templates before that, and like I did end up hiring somebody kind of in the early stages of Showit to redo a website. It wasn't totally aligned, and so like working with you and KP, like I well, one, I'm gonna like toot my horn a little bit because not only like has the website, the copy, the branding like all come together like because of working with you guys, like January, I think my site launched end of October or early November, I want to say. Like there was a little
Yeah.
bit of time before the new year. So some strategy and like bringing more people to the website with Google Ads and just like really making sure SEO is at least dialed in a little bit. January was the biggest booking month I've ever had, like flat out. I booked like I have pretty lofty goals. I want to say pretty lofty goals as an elopement photographer, but I booked $60,000 worth of business in January. So
That's
that
insane.
was really awesome. And it came down to like every single one of those couples were incredibly aligned. Everybody commented about my branding, which duh.
I mean, who wouldn't?
they it was just a really good feeling, and like I knew it was going to be kick ass, but like at the same time it was just like I started off the new year, which like this year for wedding and elopement like business folks, like we are seeing a downward trend of inquiries. Like a lot of people are struggling right now, and I'm not saying like I'm exactly where I'm at where I want to be, but I'm
Mm.
halfway booked out, which is awesome. I know for a fact I could not have gotten there without the rebrand. I know for a fact. Like it just the stars had all these pieces have come together, and it absolutely comes down to like getting things really dialed in. So yeah.
I love to hear that. That is such a great, I'm sure it's a great feeling for you
Yeah,
to
it
have
is.
that, but then also having that something where you're like people are really able to get a feel for who
Yeah.
you are and what you're going to offer and the experience that they're going to have and like the expertise that you have before they even get on a call, before they interact with you. Like if we can really dial that in and have that be really really specific, like we were saying, it's not that, let me ask you a million questions. It's really that vibe check on the call of like, is this really
Yeah.
who I think it is? And like, yes, great, I'm ready to book. Let's go. And I feel like the more that happens too, you have this sense of like showing up more confidently in everything that you do because you're like, I know people know who I'm going to be and I don't have to pretend to be someone else or like kind of mold myself into something to kind of fit each individual couple. It's just showing up authentically and everyone's like, great, this is awesome, I'm so excited for this. And
Yeah.
booking the weddings that you really truly want to do and not just booking things to fill your schedule and make sure that you're not having these huge gaps.
Totally. Yeah. I just I can't emphasize enough like it has really brought couples who like appreciate my work. They trust who I am. They trust like the direction that I'm going to take it. Like and it really like everything about the website and the rebrand really points to that North Star. Like there's no question of like what I'm bringing to the table in terms of my portfolio or like just overall like service and like client relationship stuff. So it's yeah, I mean, I was once told like I've been in a bunch of different like mastermind programs, and I there was a copywriter during one of them, and she was like, you can have a shitty website, you can have great photos, and you can have like the best copy, and like that's the combination, but you can't have a crappy website and bad copy and like your photos be the only thing that's carrying you through. So like this everything kind of it all has to like really click, especially if like we're talking like multiple six figures. Like you have even if that's not your goal, like this is it goes back to like everything is aligned and it just
Mhm.
makes life a lot easier. So
Yeah. I think there
yeah.
is that misconception of like, well, I'm a photographer, people are booking me because of the photos. And like, yes, people want great photos, absolutely. But if you are a person that they're like, I do not get along with you at all, or like our
Yeah,
personalities completely clash, or
totally.
it's not. That's a huge thing when it's something like this, especially for elopements where like you might be the only other person
Yeah,
there with them.
yeah,
If they feel super uncomfortable with you, that's not going to make for a great experience. That's not going to make for great photos. So I
yeah,
think, yes, your photos are absolutely important, but how you show off your photos, what you're saying to people, how you're communicating with them, what messaging you have, all of those things come together to actually create your entire online presence that is going to
yeah.
either attract or repel the people that you want to work with.
And I do think like that's the thing. I don't consider this. That I'm still like my business is 5 years old at this point. I don't really consider myself. It's kind of terrible to say. I'm not. I'm an artist second. I'm a business owner first. Like, and that deals a lot with like client experience and making sure
Mm-hmm.
like your day is not a shit show because like you had said, like I'm the only other person potentially at your nuptials. Like you need a co-pilot, you need somebody who knows the location, like the logistics. Don't forget like a walkie-talkie if you've got multiple cars coming. Like there's so many things that really go into like the day of, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there just to take photos. And I think that it goes back, the rebranding and the website really helped pull everything together. That yes, my goal is always to have amazing photos, but I like it comes down to it's an experience. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It 100% is, and if you're not focusing on that as well as the quality of the photos, there's going to
yeah,
always be that disconnect. And so I
totally,
think, keeping that at the forefront is super super important, especially like you said when you're getting to charging more for weddings or trying to book out, higher end client, anything like that.
yeah,
People aren't going to pay, high four, low five figures for something that isn't they're not confident is going to be a good experience.
right, right, yeah. I mean, it literally comes down to, especially, I mean, at the age of where we're at in terms of like technology and like the new generation that's coming up that's about to get married, like you have to think about your ideal client and like what's important to them. And like they don't want to visit a website that's clunky or doesn't have like a voice that speaks to them. And I charge what I charge because of everything is really dialed in. And
Mm-hmm.
like it just I couldn't charge what I was charging previously without the website and the rebrand. I just couldn't. It wasn't realistic. So, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I totally get that, and I think
Yeah.
it's a super important thing to kind of have everything on the same level so that people aren't like, okay, is this worth it? It's just that confidence,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, absolutely, like I am so so ready to do this.
Totally. And that's the thing too. Like I've raised my prices twice since the new site launched, and it comes down to I was encouraged. Well, one, I was encouraged initially because I'm in a mastermind program and it's fantastic, but the previous website was not getting to me. It was not getting the traction it needed and the right clients, and like speaking to it wasn't standing apart. And so like doing this rebrand, with the price increases, like it's not, I think a lot of, there's maybe some shame in the industry of like raising your price, especially right now with like everything going on. Oh Lord, we could talk another 12 hours on this shit. But I mean, just because if somebody can't afford your pricing doesn't mean you're not worth it. And like that has been a lot of kind of like the mantra behind this entire rebrand. Like
Mhm.
it's worth, like the time is worth it. Like you're going to have the epic experience that you need. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about kind of the whole process, was there anything that was your favorite part of it, or any part that surprised you as you were going through it?
Oh, okay. Well, for one thing, I'm now using Notion. Thank you, because that's keeping me totally organized.
Love
um,
it.
love it. So like, and I'm coming from more of like a corporate background. I was in sales for, oh my God, like 15 years before I decided to go off on my own and be an entrepreneur. So having like understanding like systems and client relationship management stuff, like I loved working with you guys. Like it was super easy. It was very straightforward. I knew when deadlines were due. Like I loved the brand Bible that you guys built out for me. I think it's going to be super easy for, I mean, any I do truly believe in outsourcing. I
Hmm.
like that has always been something like I know I want to always outsource things that I am not a genius about or even like have talent. And
Yeah.
so I just appreciate the entire experience in terms of like if I had a question, you guys are an email away. Like it's not a big deal. And the cool part is like because of the groundwork that you guys did building out my website and like understanding who I am, like I'm so excited to work with your team in the future because there are going to be landing pages that I want to look different from like what I've got now and back end stuff and like different resource guides and that. So like this is a long-term partnership as far as I'm concerned. So like metal, good, well done. But no, it was very easy to use and like I I think the only regret that I have is I didn't hire you guys sooner because I didn't know what was available. I think there was a little scarcity mindset previously on my end where I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And no, I mean, it's changed my business completely. So,
I think with anything when we're looking at like business wise, any like big moves, big investments like that, there is that a little bit of nervousness. Not that
yeah.
you're completely like it's not worth it, but it is like, okay, what am I going to see
Yeah.
from this? Like, am I going to get, the return? What is it going to feel like? But I
Yeah.
think taking that leap and taking it at the right time, kind of understanding that it can do a lot for your business and even
Yeah.
just how you show up in your business and being confident and being like I'm not afraid to like send this to people anymore and like I feel good about this and I'm getting the people that I want to get and all of those little things that play together. I think it's not we're never going to say that this is something that you should take casually and it's we're never going to be like, yeah, it's not that big of an investment. Like we understand this is a huge thing and obviously it's something that you need to, think about and not just kind of go into on a whim, but
Yeah.
it can make a big difference in your business when you do it the right way.
And it's so interesting because like there was some, hindsight's 2020, right? But like the big thing is, so I started my business in 22 and I kind of did the typical route most photographers will take. So like you get this shitty GoDaddy website and then maybe you'll move to like Pixieset and then maybe you'll move to Showit eventually and like you'll get a cheap template and then maybe you'll get another template. So like we're talking over, at like and I say 5 years because there was some like foreground on that, but like all these different things that I've invested into my web presence have probably costed like 15K. Like
Mm-hmm.
looking at, and this was before my website rebranding design with you guys. Like it was not only was it costing me that much to like put this shit all together, but at the same time, like how much money was I losing? And
Yeah.
having a newer business, like and I'm kind of guilty at this where, I threw a lot of spaghetti at the wall to see what stuck. I mean, everybody does, I think. And at that point, like I had some corporate money obviously that was coming in, so like I had a little bit too much like of not doing the research, but like trying to like panic and get this off the ground because I think anybody who wants to go into like full-time photography or like a creative field that is going to be their main job, like I I feel like we can kind of be like, well, I'm just going to do it myself because I'm a creative person and I know who I am. I can say I've designed so many shitty websites and like so much time and effort and like months of painstakingly trying to make a Showit website work or like trying to pick out the right colors. I see a lot of my counterparts in like my business, my mastermind program, where they're like, I'm just going to design my website myself. It's not the time right now. You're right. It was the time like 3 months ago.
Hmm.
Like it's just writing the check. And you guys are so generous with like payment plans and stuff like that too. Like there's really no reason. Like you just have to embrace the suck for a minute and like lean in. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is very much the mindset sometimes of like, I'm gonna go through and try and do this myself, or do templates, or do all of these little things. And when you're first starting off, that might be great because you're not really sure who you are,
Totally.
what you want to do, who you want to
Yeah.
work with. But
Yeah.
as you become established, you can run into the thing where like now you're just spending a ton of money and you're
And
still
time. And
time,
time.
and
Yeah.
especially if you're trying to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's very true. You can be creative. There's a reason we don't take our own brand photos. There's a reason we didn't write our own website copy.
Yeah.
Like there are
Absolutely.
things that there's a wide range of things when we come to like being creative and being an artist and like being in this type of community that like, yes, I specialize in this, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z as great as someone else could do it.
Totally. It's a waste of time to be honest. Like you could, I
Yeah.
mean, if I had had this website, like my photos were decent, like they were fine, and it like it's a journey, it's a process. But like I look at a year ago, like my photos were decent. Like with the website that I have now, I probably would have been in a much different space, and like I don't waste time. Like just it's an investment, and it's I mean, I don't intend to change or like have significant rebranding things for a very long time. And if it is, I'm going through you guys anyways. So like it just this is a commitment for sure.
Yeah.
And it just I will say this too, Jesse, like so it goes back to throwing spaghetti at the wall, and like there is a lot of money that I do spend on marketing, and it comes from like Google Ads, but also there was a lot of in-person events that I was spending a significant amount of money for. The amount of money that I've put towards those events, I no longer am doing those events, and it would have paid for two of my websites. Like it's just and I've made back, like the ROI is outstanding. So, yeah.
No, no, I 100% agree. And there is a lot of time where you're like, should I do this? Is it gonna work out? But I think just having something that really feels like you makes all of the other things kind of fall in line and fall into place, and it can really be a big game changer for everything.
For sure. Yeah.
So I have one last question for you.
Hit
Now
it.
that you have everything and everything is up and live and you've been able to kind of sit with it for a little bit, how confident do you feel with your new brand and website?
My entire life is surrounded by my brand. So I've basically, I mean, like you can see, like my wall color is a part of my brand. Um, I love my new brand. It's exactly like who I am, and like I mean, it is completely dialed in, and I I love the feedback I get not only from like the people who are in my life consistently, but also like total strangers. And like,
Hmm.
so not only is my website incredibly user friendly, it's fun, it's interactive, like it's informative. It's not like you're scrolling through and you're kind of coming through these different sections, and everyone is pretty unique and fun and engaging. So like
Hmm.
overall, like even if I was somebody who didn't know how to use Showit or WordPress, like making a transition for like with you both was super easy. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, we love when people who know you come to the website and they're like, this feels like you, and then other people who don't know you are like, this is exactly who I expected to be on this
Yeah.
call based on everything that I've seen. Like
Yeah.
that's when you have that total kind of confidence in how you're showing up and how people are perceiving you, and all of those things that kind of fall into place so that you feel really really good about everything. And there's no like, I thought I was getting on a call with a completely different person, so like now I have to kind of adjust my expectations and all of these little things. So
Yeah.
We absolutely love that, and love that you feel that way, and that that's the kind of feedback that you've been getting from people too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, it's great. It's fun to my next door neighbor is she's 72, and they're like mom and dad age. They're mom and dad for us here. And she had not she like we don't really talk about my business cuz we're busy talking about other things, but I had pulled up something about my website and immediate oh my gosh, no. It was the reason why we started talking because you guys sent the care pack or the hat. Oh my gosh, she actually picked it up. They like watch our mailbox religiously, like so like it's hanging there. It was during a snowstorm, so she had brought it in for us, and I had opened it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet, and I bust out my hat and my sweatshirt. And she saw the chicken and she was dying laughing. She's like, oh my gosh, everything in your life is based off of your chickens. And I was like, listen, I'm committed. So even people like it makes for a great conversation start. Like it's just being who you are, right? Like it's
Yeah.
and that's gone a long way. So
Yeah, there's nothing that compares to just being able to genuinely be yourself in like every
totally.
aspect of your life.
Yeah, that's so funny. I forgot about that.
I absolutely see the chickens. That's my favorite part. I think it's everybody's favorite part of the brand.
I
I'm
love
so
it.
glad we were able to incorporate it because
I
it
love
really.
it. I love, oh my gosh, they're tiny little dinosaurs. I love them so much. So, yeah.
Well, if anybody else wants to check out these chickens and the rest of your brand and your website, where can
Yeah.
they find you online?
Totally. So my website is Renee Griffith, TH at the end, photo.com. I'm based in Massachusetts, but Acadia National Park and Stowe and Iceland, but I'm also on Instagram, not really on TikTok right now just because like obviously the temperature of everything, like do we have it, do we not have it, like whatever. So Instagram is usually where I'm showing up, but this year I'm trying to show more of who I am and have videos and talks with the chickens for my clients and all that. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, we will link all of that down in the description.
Thanks.
Definitely go check it out. See the chickens,
Yeah.
DM her, tell her how you feel about them. But thank you so much for coming on and talking through
You bet.
everything. It was so great to see you again and to be
Yeah.
able to talk through everything. And we are so happy that you are loving everything still.
It honestly, like you guys, your team has like totally propelled my business. So I'm obsessed with the work you guys did, and I cannot wait for more collaborations and working together. There's so much to do still. So yeah,
We are
cool.
so excited, always open, always down to do anything. But thank you again so much for coming on, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thanks, Jesse.